I only sent it on the ACC.
What, you didn't actually send them an email?
Yeah, I sent it through the, I don't do email, I just do it through the, ask them to do, hang on the ARC 18 form.
But you actually said, if my memory serves me right, you said you wanted them to call you.
Yes, I just said patient would like to meet up with ACC and rehab and discuss overall case. That's what I said.
Well, look, at the end of the day, don't have any conversations with them without
So
my being
that's
present.
what you wanted me to do though, so I did it.
Yeah, but I don't want you having any. Have they rang you at all?
No.
Right. I don't want any conversations without my being present because there's too many things. They're just full of BS.
I didn't talk to them, I just sent them this thing here on the ARC 18.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Right.
That's what you wanted me to do and that's what I did. Here we are.
Okay, thank you. Look, at the end of the day, there's just too many things going on in my case that just don't add up, don't make sense. It's my life is just like stagnant, stalemate, going nowhere, and they'll do everything to get rid of it for free.
So how can we go forward?
Well,
so I've sent that to them, and I haven't had a response from them. So we'll just.
Well, you see, I wanted you to demand a meeting because if you don't know.
But I've asked them. I put it on paper, and I sent them that. That's how we do it on the ARC 18.
Yeah, no, that's look.
But you don't want me to talk to them. You just said you don't want me to talk to them.
I don't want you to have any verbal communication with them because.
Well, that's what I've done. I haven't done a verbal. I've done it on the ARC,
it leaves
and they
me,
have to acknowledge that.
It leaves me in a vulnerable situation because I don't know exactly who's saying what, who's doing what. At the end of the day, there is no rehabilitation in this case. There isn't going to be any rehabilitation if you can't even address post-traumatic stress. Like, it's a disaster, an absolute disaster. And I didn't do it all myself because I've always tried to get communication and they've just literally shut up shop. You know, I've got a doctor trying to do the job of a lawyer. An ACC and the government want me to pay for the lawyers to take them on. That's just not good enough. It's a slave trade action, and it's a criminally blackmailing only to ransom action. There was a question I was going to ask you though. I must have forgot to bring the right ones with me. I left the other question at home. That's a good one. No, I just think that. So, you say they have to answer. I don't think they will answer.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, that's what you wanted me to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end, they're going to avoid it like the plague. They're going to avoid it like the plague, like they always do, and try and turn it into some legal battle. You should have mentioned the post-traumatic stress one.
It's under post-traumatic stress.
And at the end of the day, I need to be able to get reports written up by somebody, not somebody just sitting there talking to me. That's talking to me and not resolving anything. I don't want anybody masking the symptoms while the issues and the problems that are created by other people are still in effect and still being created. You know, at the end of the day, that's the bottom line. Something needs to be, you know, like if I was a domestic violent relationship coming in to see you, you'd have everything at your disposal to help me. Or if I was a child suffering trauma and abuse and threats and intimidation as a child, you'd have everything to help me. But because I'm an injured person, it's completely and utterly different.
Okay, so.
I'm joking. I already did. I can't, I just feel like I'm imprisoned all the time, living the same rubbish every day.
Have you got some, I gave you some cough medicine once. So anyway, I mean, you want me to ring ACC?
I want you to get a meeting with you, me, ACC, and then I'll have all the questions. I mean, the ACC's got a million questions they haven't answered. And David Hepbury has, I don't really blame him for running a mile. Because he's done a lot for me, but at the same time I feel like he's screwed me over by not And maybe he's just too busy, or maybe it's just like there's not enough money to pay him anymore. Like, whatever it is. I mean, you see, I got angry at him, probably for the wrong reasons, but at the same time for the right reasons, and more frustration and anger than anything else, and not getting any solution or resolution, or all he can do is take matters to review and appeal, and he takes matters to review and appeal, and it sits there for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and goes nowhere. This is what ACC is doing. It's like, as stated by Kerry Kay, the police commander, ACC just wants to buy time. They admitted that they declared an act of war against me, but try to call it an off-the-cuff remark. They admitted that I was the victim, but they still did nothing to hold anybody criminally to account for what they were doing to my life. So, you know, I mean, it's one disaster after another, after another, after another. And I just feel like I'm in a slave trade action. And I feel that ACC and the government are just defrauding me of 75% of my life and quality of life and potential income, because they haven't done anything to address rehabilitation. Like 10 years under your supervision has left my post-traumatic stress going nowhere. It's like everybody thinks they just shut up shop. ACC doesn't want any answers as to being the cause of the problem. The police don't want anything to be the cause of the problem, not even after their violent attacks in the back of a police car, and leave me with a neck injury on top of the injuries I already had. The doctors don't want to be involved in it. The forensic psychiatrists have all run a mile. Nobody wants to answer any of my questions, but everybody wants to answer me to answer their questions. I'm the one who gets to run around everybody and look for this and look for that and look for the other. I'm the one who gets passed from pillar to post like I'm a product on a shelf. But, you know, it's victim pays, victim pays, victim pays, victim pays, victim pays. That's all it is. And everybody's quite happy for the victim to pay. You can't build a life on when you're under the controls of someone else and someone else is taking your life on a path that should never went. I didn't have a brain injury, I didn't have a mental illness, I never threatened anybody. And this is someone acting personally, even the police has admitted that. This is personal against you, Mike. So if they knew it was personal against me, why did they not hold anybody criminally to account? You know, why did they not put a stop to it? Instead, they put me in a prison. Everybody thinks they can carry out this intimidation, this bullying, this abuse, trying to seek a reaction from someone like me, who is literally trained not to react. You know what I mean? I did martial arts all my life. And you're trained not to react to other people's intimidation and violence. The frustration can get the better of you. There's no doubt about that. But it's all about wearing you down mentally, psychologically, emotionally, physically, and financially. And when you've got that power and that control over a victim, what are you left with? You're not left with very much, you know. It's what it does to you on all levels, and what it costs you. It's not going to cost you anything for the first month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year. But over time, it's costing you everything. It's wearing you down on all levels. And people trying to say, you're the problem, you're the problem, you're the problem, you're the problem. Like if I was to employ someone to go out and run after somebody and beat them up and all the rest of it, or threaten them and intimidate them, like ACC does with security guards, with private investigators, with Crown lawyers, with ombudsmen, with all their staff and management, whose actions are aimed at intimidation and abuse, and then trying to say you're the problem, and then trying to hide behind fear and violence they themselves created to facilitate singling you out, and then trying to claim you're the problem. And it's pretty sick, twisted, demented, deranged, delusional, insane behaviour. And when you've got a lawyer controlling it all, he knows the laws, he knows the legislation, and he's going, oh well, that's the law, that's the law. I'm sick of listening to people saying that's the law, that's the law. Anyway, so how long do you reckon it'll take them to contact you
I don't know.
to get a meeting?
It's ACC. I've sent the letter.
And what if they just ignore it?
Well then, I don't know. I can ring them.
I wouldn't want you ringing them unless I was present. Seriously.
Okay.
Because that way then I can hear exactly what they have to say and their attitude about it. But at the end of the day, I just feel like I'm being held criminally to blackmail and ransom at all times.
Oh, I can get them to ring you. They won't ring you.
ACC, I can ring some number, and they'll contact me back when it suits their purpose.
Yeah.
I can call the call centre and get put through to somebody, but at the end of the day, all they're going to do is try and hide behind the legislation and the law and ignore the fact of everything they've done wrong. So that doesn't really help me. It doesn't help anybody. It's literally a case of hear nothing, see nothing, know nothing, and overall they're getting away with ACC can't contract out of legislation, even though they said they could never be involved in the management of my claim. And even after all said and done, you're still in the same situation. The government doesn't care. The doctors don't care. The specialists don't care. The experts don't care. Everybody just wants to make their money and move on. But the victim never gets paid enough compensation and never gets the opportunity to move on. So what about the post-traumatic stress? Are you going to address that or what?
Well, what do you want? I mean, you want to go for therapy?
When you say therapy, what do you mean by therapy?
I don't know. I mean, all I can ask ACC to send you on for some, they will have to send you on to someone with post-traumatic stress.
Well, I want someone who's going to write up reports in relation to what I've been subjected to.
Let ACC respond to that treatment that I mean.
Right. I also want to know the term of psychosocial rehabilitation and what injuries that relates to. Now, you said you've got all my injuries there. Can you see the injuries that relate to psychosocial? I don't think you can.
No. So. You need to get a. Okay, well, I can get them to see someone for stress.
You can't write up a rehabilitation plan and tell a victim.
I can't, but I can get them to see somebody.
What I'm saying is they can't write up a rehabilitation plan and demand that I sign it and accept it without them explaining exactly which injuries it relates to and what this psychosocial rehabilitation is. But they're walking into a court of law saying, we've got a rehabilitation plan. But none of them are explaining it. And I didn't know anything about it until what? Maybe 9 months ago? That's the type of behaviour you have to put up with. Anyway, I don't want to hold you back. I'll talk. I've got other questions, but I forgot to bring them with.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right.